Dumelang bana ba dikgosi le dikgosigadi ke ngwanyanela o rata ke modimo le mangelo ya kere. Welcome to the Kosinkosi podcast,
a brand that stands for all things owning your power. In other words, we have conversations with individuals from different walks of life, understanding that how did you get to the point of owning your true power, and what did you do to get to that point of owning that power?
Dumelang bana ba dikgosi le dikgosigadi ke ngwanyanela go rata ke modimo le mangelo ya kere. Welcome to yet another episode of the Kosinkosi podcast, a brand that stands for all things owning your power. In other words, we open up conversations with different individuals from different walks of life to try and understand how did you get to that point of realizing your true power, and what did you do to get to that comfortable place of owning that power. I'm your host, Suharan Leseilani, and we believe that confidence is something that comes from within you. And we also believe that clothing and fashion statements are also a big part of that process. In today's episode, I've got a big personality who's a very consistent makeup artist in the entertainment industry for over 10 years, and also contributed to the trend-setting of makeup artistry journey. Bonolo Bae, welcome to the podcast today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You look beautiful.
I try.
Bonolo Bae, you've been a makeup artist in this entertainment industry for a very long time now, and you also did my makeup for the past 2 episodes, including this one as well. Take me through your journey as a makeup artist in general, what that has been like for you.
I don't know where to start because I can write an entire book about it. It's got its highs, it's got its lows. There's days where I don't want anything to do with makeup, and there's days where I'm like, oh wow, I've created a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's a learning curve every day. New trends. Either set the trends or copy the trends. The pressure is it's like a very, very interesting journey.
So when did you realize that you had this talent? Were you self-taught? Did you just see someone doing this and you're like, oh, I really want to get into that as well? How did that start like for you?
Funny story. I've always wanted to be in entertainment as an entertainer, either a presenter or I've always wanted to be an actor. Ne ke batla ba ngwana wa Queen go Generations Prince. But so the one day I got into a taxi with my mom. We went, this is now after I finished my matric, because you apply for school and then they give you response whether they accept you or they don't. I unfortunately didn't get response from any of the varsities. Yeah. So I was like, okay, ma, let's get into a taxi. Roba Foster, a gap year is like too long for me. I have to do something with my life. Get into a taxi, Reye Jobeki. We get to WITS. The dramatic arts faculty or department, rather, is filled up. There's no space. We go to AFDA. We get to AFDA hotels. Later on, I think on our way back home, my mom had to leave for work. So she left me in town, bought a couple of stuff, Cosmo Street, it's like, used to be a thing. I remember getting into Carlton Center just on the side. They had a store that sold body cosmetics and whatever. I've always loved nails. So I was like, ke lo reka di press on, ke na le tšhentšhinyana mo taxing. I have to basically get something stylish, ke weekend day, blah, blah, blah. Get into the store, bump into four ladies. I'm not sure. I think it was Zama. 4 ladies. They're dressed in uniform, beautiful makeup, beautiful hair. I'm like, guys, liberaka guy, nkenyeng man. Ke rata ba le tlogela re lapare di makeup le di hairstyles le batlang. They're like, no. We go to a beauty school. I'm like, beauty school? oh, wow, go guy. They're like, no, we go to Central Johannesburg College. They teach cosmetology. You basically get taught everything from nails to makeup to massages. And I was like, okay, this is something I can kind of push time with. Go back home, wait for my mom to come back from work. I'm like, Mom, I think I want to go to beauty school. My mom is like, how? From entertainment to beauty? I'm like, hey, gap year, it's not for me.
Too much.
I need to do something. So entertainment, we'll come back to it. And that's how and then I went to beauty school, and that's how I got into beauty, well, as a bracket, but makeup per se.
Yeah. What are some of the personalities you've worked with in the industry, and what has that done for you?
Before I get into personalities, I think going to a beauty school or a grooming school is one of the best things that I could have ever done for myself, because we don't only play with products where they teach you bo makeup, bo manala, massages. You go to a class where they teach you salon management, and they teach you how to present yourself to a client. They teach you how to manage a client. They teach you product behavior, wara wara. Coming back to your question about personalities, ultimately, how a client behaves or whatever is depicted by the boundary that you set as a service provider.
Yeah.
I'm not going into a client's home to go search for the client's personality. I'm basically like a therapist. I'm there to go give the client what they want, get what I need to get out of it, and then leave.
Yeah.
So personality-wise, people are not the same. I can't judge you because you are not an average Kosinkosi or a Bonolo Bae.
Yeah.
I have to treat you like the first client as my last. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the first time I interacted with you through makeup, because we really unpacked quite a lot of things. And I think I told you I left that session feeling light. You have that effect about you.
It's therapy. It's therapeutic. Makeup is therapeutic, yeah.
Most of your clients, did they feel the same? Do they feel the same way about you?
We have conversations about anything in the makeup room. That's why I'm like, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
We have clients that go, while you're doing their makeup, they cry because they're going through whatever. Some of them, it's their first makeup experience, you know, but you know, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, speaking about your journey as wanting to be in the entertainment industry and then now being channeled to go into the makeup artistry, because that's what you had to do with that gap year, because you were not successful trying to pursue what you wanted to pursue. I know that you also do other work in the entertainment industry, like brand promotion. Please tell me about that journey for you.
Brand promotion is a new thing. I feel like, you know, as a makeup artist, as soon as I post you on Instagram or a social media platform where I have a bit of influence, that is part of brand promotion. Yeah. I'll get people from other companies call me on time. Oh, we saw you shoot with whoever. Can you get that person for us to come and do a bit of this? So I also strike a bit of a deal for myself, because I'll be like, okay, only if I do the makeup for the shoot,
for this shoot,
then I can definitely try speak to X, Y, and Z and get her in or him into your studio. And so it's always a business move for me.
For you.
Yeah.
I can actually describe you as someone who's all-rounded and has so much talents and so many things that you can do. What other things are you working on besides being a makeup artist, brand promoter? Are you working behind the scenes of other things?
Yes, I do. I style.
Yeah.
Clothing. I do a lot of photo shoots where I'm expected to give direction.
Yeah.
I script edit. It's a newfound love. I've tapped into the alcohol beverage section. I've been trying to MC, but I don't like being in front of the camera. So I'm doing voiceovers. So there's plenty of places where I juggle.
Yeah. And because you don't like being on camera, how does it feel for you now being on camera?
I'm nervous, but
I think you're carrying
the
it well.
environment is very, very
Safe
calming.
and-
It's me, yeah.
Now, Bonolo, you are part of the LGBTQI plus community, and you are very boldly living in your true identity right now. What was it like for you growing up and having to accept yourself and looking around and seeing that you're different? How did you navigate that? What was that like for you?
Sure. As awkward as or untruthful it may sound, I have a very supportive family.
Yeah.
I'm raised by my mother and my grandmother. They don't want a lot from me, but for me to be me. And coming from a family that has a lot of females than males, it kind of made sense to them why I'm the way that I am.
The way that you are.
Because I'm wherever you find me, I'm either with my cousin sister, or I'm with my aunt, or I'm with my mother, or I'm laying next to my grandmother.
Yeah.
So I could basically say coming from a supportive family is the best things that happened to me.
So with that support structure around you, you've never really found yourself in a position where you had to battle with that identity from outsiders, maybe?
My family's let me be me.
Yeah.
I used to do a wig or a duke or whatever from a young age.
Yeah.
They've never oppressed me or forced me to be a specific person.
Yeah.
They've never forced me to live the way that they perceive me or the way that they want me or the person that they want me to be, but have let me be my own person.
Yeah.
So I've took it out to the streets as well. Hore, this is me. I love long nails. I love hair. I'll gender bend sometimes. I'll rock up in a tuxedo in thigh highs. That is who I am.
Yeah.
Hearing things that people say about me, Kostrating, or to ridicule me, I've had my whole life, my friends are a bit older than me. So, living in an environment where people are more knowledgeable and understanding of the person that I am helped me get through because you do wrong, people complain.
Yeah.
You do well in life, people complain. You are skinny, you are this, people complain. So, I also try to be in spaces where I feel comfortable. I won't go out, go hostel, or I'm not bad-mouthing hostel, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's very masculine. I'll never be caught in an area where I don't feel like
Safe.
I'm comfortable or safe to step in. I always go into a space that is kind of woke about the people, about people that are like me.
That are like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about where we are in terms of inclusion for people like yourself? Do you think there's still more that we need to do to be more inclusive? Or do you think we are slowly getting to that place that we look at someone like you and we let people be who they are? Because one of the biggest things right now is that there still are quite a few people that look at people like you sideways. Like, what do you think you are? Who do you think you are? What are you trying to be?
Look, without sounding like controversial or anything, there's always only been a conversation about, there's only ever been male or female. And to get a person like me who's more into their feminine side, outside of their natural origin, will forever be questionable. So I feel like we still live in an era where people like me are not celebrated enough. But I kind of understand because of our natural origin.
Yeah.
It always raises eyebrows here or there. But also, there's never a stop because there's always something new. It used to only be lesbian and gay.
Yeah.
And now there is transgender, there's bisexual, there's pansexual, there's, different terms to kind of assign everybody given not what they fantasize about but what they love. I know of males that don't want to be called gay or bisexual, but they date in both, genders.
Yeah.
So it's still questionable, but.
Yeah. So what do you identify as and what are your pronouns? What would you like to be addressed as?
I'm very easy.
Yeah.
I feel it's unfair for a CPO from a company somewhere who comes and says, who doesn't know my pronouns, meets me for the first time, Butoami, how are you? It's my job to tell you, Uti, my brother, I prefer to be called them, they, or she or her. And then get a girl come from somewhere and be like, Mogeli. I'm like, no, I'm prefer to be called him, her, though I look feminine. So for me, it's an approach thing. But my pronouns are her, she, yeah. That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good that you are also understanding of the fact that sometimes, we still address people how we see them from a physical standpoint. Because sometimes for me, the difficulty comes when you address someone a certain way and then they retaliate. But we didn't know that this is how you want to be addressed.
I think that's also something that's open for discussion.
Yeah.
Because I won't walk in a dress and a stiletto. You can tell that I'm masculine and I'm in makeup and you still want to call me a him. That for some people is disrespectful.
Disrespectful,
I mean,
yeah.
I've gone to the extent of showing you that I prefer to be called she. I'm wearing a dress. I'm wearing stockings and I'm in high heels. That should account for something.
To say, address me as
Address
a she.
me the way that I
I'm
want to be addressed. I present myself, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because I've always found difficulty in that fine line as to, if I see you appearing this way, you're coming and you look like a man, and I say he, and you retaliate by those pronouns, especially if we don't know about those pronouns, then it was...
I mean, we live in an era where you can tell whether a person is gay or not.
Yes.
I mean, actions speak louder than words. I mean...
But there's always
movement,
that fine
posture.
line. There's always that fine line.
That is why I feel it's good when you don't know someone. You come, how are you? Good. My name is Bonolo. What is your name? And then eventually we kind of figure each other out. Then you ask the question, I'm sorry, but I work in an environment where there's people from the LGBTQI community. I presume you're straight or whatever. What are your pronouns? So that when I also address other people, I can get it correct. I feel like it's also only fair to ask a straight person if they are straight.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Bonolo, you work on a lot of things, and I heard you talk about working on an alcohol brand. Would you tell me a little bit about that?
It's still at its infant stage. I'm looking to, I basically have acquired the type of alcohol that I want to be linked to. Wines, sparkling wines. I'm considering a gin, but yeah.
I love wine. I love champagne and sparkling wines. Maybe you can use me.
we can have that discussion once we are at that stage.
Yes,
I'm still at branding stage, acquiring. I'm like trying to break a ground. I hope this idea is not stolen, but it's such a difficult thing. I'm trying to make a non-alcoholic dry red wine. I don't know how, but I feel like we have non-alcoholic sparkling wine. We have a non-alcoholic Savannah. How don't we have a dry red wine that's non-alcoholic?
That's interesting. I have never heard of it before, but I think you should pursue it because, it just makes sense for you to do it. Yeah, and I think those two alcoholic brands really suit your image so well
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, Bonolo, if you were a plate of food and you were to serve yourself to people, what would be on that plate and why?
I have to be very, very careful with that choice. But I would definitely be a Russian and chips. I'll tell you why. It's a takeout. It's easy to find. I'm easy to get hold of.
Okay.
As a friend, it's comforting. I'm a very supportive person. But again, if you don't watch out, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you were a cocktail, I'll guess champagne somewhere.
Not really. Like maybe a mimosa.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of healthy and a bit of naughty.
Yeah.
Yeah, is how I
love
can
mimosas.
put it.
I also would be a mimosa. If
Very
I was
bittersweet.
Yeah. My thing with mimosas, the one thing I love the most, and I said it in the other episode, is the fact that we can just wake up in the morning, pop champagne, and
add orange juice and be a mimosa.
And then we'd be a mimosa.
Yeah, for me it's a half and half. I get to feel healthy, but also
it's always time.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. You grew up in the townships, and I think the reputation that the township has is that people are not very liberal there. They're very close-minded. And you grew up from that kind of environment, and you owned your power. How did you get to that point of owning your power given your upbringing and the challenges that you faced in that setting?
One, Kagiso is not very rough, but also very, very welcoming. But I must tell you the honest truth. Either you eat or you get eaten. And I think my making friends with everybody, whether mushimano tabiwang to mewa kereke, I'll have to know who you are and why you're about what you're about. But bako Kagiso ba rata dilo tse relevant.
Yeah.
So tshwantse o nne relevant gore o nne, you know. So I kind of beat the bullying and the being jumped and the questioning of who I am. Ka go nna relevance. I mean, a small TV appearance goes a long way where I come from. It's like, yo, we sa Kagiso ko dimu. Wa bona Kagiso man, yo, the standards. And then you get there and then it's a whole different ball game. Again, in a pub and grill or just a nice eatery, Olodula, and you get to like, oh, VIP space, kara tomorrow akatali lisihurani, you know. So that's yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bonolo, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome to come back, and don't forget about the alcoholic.
I'll bring you some.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.